Good afternoon, folks.
Good
Good
afternoon, sir.
afternoon, sir.
Good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon,
sir.
sir.
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Head count is 38. We'll wait 2 more minutes. Okay, guys, so let's begin. Last class, we have talked about formal communication, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. This class, we are going to do with informal communication. Informal communication. The basic difference between formal and informal communication is the mode in which we are communicating the message. Informal communication is majorly oral communication, and formal communication, when it comes, it's majorly written communication. It's not that oral communication doesn't take place in formal, but officially speaking, formal communication is all about in writing. Now, the basic difference between formal and informal is a mode of communication, as I have said earlier. So basically, if formal communication, you are giving it in writing. So in case someone is not following that, you can accuse that person, or you can drag that person to the court of law to say that this person is not following the promise that he has given. But in informal communication, this thing doesn't happen. This informal communication, technically known as grapevine, GRAPE plus VINE. Grapevine is a compound word, is a combination of grape plus wine. There are multiple theories behind the origin of this particular word. One theory says it's a grape in the vine yard grows so fast that sometimes this communication is termed as a grapevine communication, because the mode or the way communication spreads in formal communication, it is pretty slow. Like you have given an application, this application will go to this person, that person, like that. So it takes and it follows official protocol. But informal communication is just oral communication. It spreads like wildfire. It spreads like wildfire. So the idea is, the basic difference between formal and informal is the mode of communication. I have repeated already. So informal communication, grapevine, as one theory I said about grape in the vineyard. Next theory, which surrounds about the origin of this particular word, is during the Second World War, one camp of soldier is sending a message to another camp of soldier through a messenger. Now this messenger, this messenger used to deliver the message to a person who is supposed to deliver the message to the group captain. Now, what happened during the time of World War? This messenger used to deliver the message to a designated person, but people who are very much inquisitive in nature, they used to eavesdrop. They used to eavesdrop in the sense these people are not supposed to listen, but still they used to listen unlawfully to the conversation, and from there they pass on the message to the other people. So this is the kind of thing you can say rumor also. Rumor. This is called rumor. This is also called as gossip. Rumor, gossip, and grapevine communication all are same. Rumor, gossip, and grapevine all are same. Only thing is that this rumor, if you know how to use the rumor in your benefit, sky is the limit to touch. For the progress. But if you do not know how to manage this rumor in a positive manner, then you are gone. This rumor stays in every organization, whether it's a government organization or a private organization. This grapevine communication is there. You cannot stop it, but definitely you can minimize it. So, gossip and rumor are part and parcel of our life, and gossip and rumor happens to be present in those places where people are very much, rude or very tough in nature. For example, your boss is a very tough fellow, so you will have a more rumor against your boss than anyone else who is very much friendly to you. So, this kind of rumor and gossips are part and parcel of any every organization. One good thing about this rumor and gossip is that when a decision is taken, before that usually at least
Pardon me, sir, you are not audible.
yes, boy, sorry. Well, the thing is that this gossip and rumor are part and parcel of your life. But the thing is that if you know how to minimize it, then you can succeed. Let me give you a real life example. Few years back, government came up with a proposal, or proposal was linking Aadhaar with your Facebook. Do you remember?
Yes, sir.
So that was actually a kind of rumor, or that was actually, you can say, a gossip kind of thing. The idea is that government is simply floating a proposal. It is not official. Remember, government is floating a proposal in front of press. In front of press, they are giving a proposal, like we are planning to link Aadhaar with Facebook. So there was a huge protest all over the country. There was a huge protest. Now, protest gave an opportunity to the government to understand that if the government follows this path, there will be huge protest. So, government stayed back from their statement. This you will see very frequently, like when political leaders gives a statement on record, but reporter, when he is asking that, did you say like that? The person say, no, actually I said something else, and the reporter reported something else. So if it's an oral communication, you can deny all the time. You can deny because you can say that I wanted to mean this, but this reporter misunderstood me and reported this in such a manner. So the idea is that in oral communication, you always have an opportunity to say no. But when it comes in writing, it is very difficult to manage to say the contradictory thing which you have said already. So, government when proposed that Facebook will be linked with Aadhaar, government did not give it in writing. So it was an oral communication that there is a plan. So based on the protest, government stepped back from their decision. So in company also the same thing prevails. Like government, like the companies floats a protocol that from next month onwards, there will be biometric attendance. So what company HR does, HR is just passed on these messages to someone and ask them, please have a discussion. So this is everything unofficial. So this HR fellow is passing on to someone and someone is passing on to someone. Ultimately, it is spreading. Now, there are different ways how this grapevine communication spreads. One is called single strand, is single strand, single strand. Single strand means the communication will go like this straight line. Like you are choosing, like Tarun is choosing Basudev, Basudev is choosing Shreyans. This is in a straight manner. Like one person, Tarun is saying to Basudev, Basudev is saying to Shreyans. But one significant thing is that each version of the story, people will add their version of masala to it. If you remember my lecture with you guys communication, I said practice, habit, and belief. Do you remember? Yes
Yes,
or
sir.
no?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So every step, you see some people are adding some masala to it. Like Tarun has seen Shashank in a CCD, Cafe Coffee Day, was sipping a cup of iced tea. So Tarun has seen Shashank in CCD. So Tarun is narrating the message to Vasudev that I have seen Shashank sipping a cup of coffee in CCD. So Basudev is narrating the same thing to Shreyans, but Basudev will give his version of the story. Like Basudev will say that Shashank is definitely taking a cup of coffee at CCD, but Shashank was seen with someone else, very close friend. So very close friend is the addition of Basudev. It's his masala. Then Basudev will say to Shreyansh that Shashank was seen with someone else, with very close friend. Then Shreyansh will say to Shujal with another masala. Then every version, the meaning gets changed, the context gets changed. So ultimately, when Shashank will come to know from Viral that he was seen in CCD with someone else, this and that, Shashank will be completely surprised that I was there all alone, no one else was there with me. But Viral is saying that no, someone told me that you are seen with someone else. The idea is that if Shashank tries to find the root, who is the originator of this gossip, Shashank will never ever come to know that Tarun is the guy who fabricated the story. He will never ever will come to know Tarun is the person who fabricated this story. So one thing good about this story is company managers can measure the steps. Like company managers will float a decision, and if the opinion goes against the company will not implement that thing. But if the reaction of the common people goes for the company, then company will implement the decision immediately. So grapevine communication is one of the weapon. If you know how to use it, it's wonderful. But if you do not know how to use it, many companies lost their what will I say, profile because of this gossip thing. Gossip is a wonderful thing, provided you know how to use it. Let me give you a real life example. There was a college in Delhi, a very well known college, Christian dominated college. So the father was approached by a journalist. So Christian father was approached by a journalist stating that he wants his son to be there in this college. So father said that no problem, ask your son to appear the admission test. But this boy could not clear the admission test. So the journalist again came and requested the father that please admit my son on such and such quota, this and that. The father said that simply my hands are tied, I cannot do anything. So the reporter gave a threat to the father that you have to pay price for it. So after 2 years or 3 years, this reporter went to a police station and lodged an FIR against the principal as a child trafficker. So immediately within 24 hours, the Christian father was put behind the bar, and the charge was he is a child trafficker. Child trafficking is a non-bailable offense. So it took 3 to 4 years for the Christian father to file the case and to come out from that legal tussle. Now the committee found that actually father was innocent, but this TV journalist was the culprit. Now court punished this TV journalist with 5,000 and 10,000. That's all. But this father, the principal, lost his image in the society, lost his job in the college, lost everything. See, this is the thing grapevine can do to you. If you know how to use it, you are fine. But if you do not know how to use it, you are gone. It's just like Operation Knife. If you are giving an Operation Knife to a sergeant, it will give a new life. But if the same Operation Knife, if you are giving it to an antisocial, it will claim a life. The problem lies not with that Operation Knife. The problem lies with the person who is holding the knife. Graphite communication is a wonderful weapon to measure, but if you do not know how to use grapevine, it might be a boomerang to you. So, one of the there are three ways how information passes from one person to another person. First one is called single strand. Second is called random. Second is called random. Third is called cluster. Random is one person when he wants to pass on the message, he is randomly choosing the sample. There is no logic behind this. Like instead of going ABC, he is choosing PQAB. Like this is random. Cluster is when a person chooses a particular group to pass on this information. This is called cluster. 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 So cluster is a group, or random is randomly choosing, and single strand is you are choosing the sample one after another. This is all about grapevine communication. Usually, you get a straight away question like, "What is grapevine communication? What are the pros and cons of grapevine communication?" Discuss. It's a straight cut question. There is no difficulties here. So, if you have any question, you can ask me. Grapevine communication. Any question?
So you said we should use that rumors that comes against us in our like in to take it to take advantage of it. So how do you manage these kind of rumors to take advantage of this?
Like if you are in a decision making position, instead of implementing a decision directly, you can float a rumor. That's what company people does. They float a rumor, and they float a rumor in the closed circle and see the movement or see the reaction of the people. And if the reaction is in positive mode, that's fine. If it's the reaction is not in positive mode, they will step back. This is the way. This is there. Every company follows the same strategy, whether be it Google, whether be it Microsoft. Everyone follows the same thing: grapevine communication.
So
Yes, Tarun?
like an interview, if the interviewer asks, like he he will just lie to the person that we have heard that the coding skills are very bad. So like, is it a possibility that
Just give me a moment. Give me a moment, Tarun. Yes, Tarun.
so for
In
example,
you're saying something that in interview.
yes, sir. In an interview, like if the interviewer asks me that we had a rumor that your coding skills are not good enough. So what will be the appropriate reaction to it? Because it's a rumor. I know that the the person who is giving the interview has a good coding skill, but the interviewer is just contradicting its abilities.
So where is the rumor here?
Rumor is he knows the person that is sitting in front of him is a good coder, but he made a rumor by himself that you are not a
Sir,
good coder. We heard from the coordinators, something like that.
but rumor can't be in interview like that.
Voice is breaking. Tarun.
Yes, sir.
Sir, he's asking that in interviews, can rumor exist? Interviewer can rumor any ability for. of candidates.
Fine. If it's all about your ability, you can say yes. You when for example someone is taking interview of Tarun and the fellow is saying that I heard a rumor that Tarun is not good in this one. This is a straight cut thing. So sir, actually expertise is a relative word. Like expertise, as I have said earlier, expertise is a relative word. So to my understanding, I am able to do coding, but if you say am I an expert, so that decision will be taken by a third party. Got my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other question? Tenjin?
Sir, one rumor recently came that WhatsApp is going to censor the encrypted messages between two persons. Is, is this grapevine only? No?
Actually, when there is no official record of it, it's an informal communication. You can call it as a grapevine. Okay, Shashank, any other question?
No, sir.
Okay. So, okay, fine. So, since there is no question, we'll move on to the next segment. Are you familiar with Venn diagram?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm sharing my screen. My screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Visible, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Visible.
Yes, sir.
Write these sentences I'm writing on chat box. All men are all men are mortal. Ram is a man. So what will be the conclusion, Sriti?
Ram is mortal.
The Ram is mortal.
Okay. So these sentences are called proposition. First proposition, all men are mortal. Second proposition, Ram is a man. Therefore, the conclusion is Ram is mortal. So if you look at this Venn diagram, here this circle represents all men are mortal. Ram is man. This shared segment, Ram is mortal. Now I would like to discuss communication and barriers to communication through this diagram. This is me delivering my 100% to you so that you can understand. This is you. This segment is you. You are also trying your 100% to understand what I am what I am saying. इसका mic on है. Take your mic, all of you. Okay. So this is me. This light color shade is me. I'm trying to deliver my 100% to you guys. This is you. You are also trying to give your 100% so that you can understand what I said. But unfortunately or fortunately, only 15% of what I deliver, only 15% of what I deliver is reachable to you. Now, rest of the things like this 80% is called loss of data. Now, this happens due to various reasons. These reasons are known as barriers to communication. So, this you are able to retain only this 15 to 20%. That's why we say whenever you are attending a class, always take a class note, because the mind is not 100% receptible to the lecture. If you write it down, immediately you can recall that sir has taught us this. But if you are not writing that these are easy things, mind can easily recall, you are doing a mistake. So this 15% or 20% is called communication. Rest of the thing is called loss of data. So this happens because of various reasons. These reasons are classified into different heads. These things is known as barriers to communication. Always remember, barriers is always followed by two. It's an appropriate preposition. Barriers is always followed by two. Barriers to communication. It's a straight away question. What are the barriers to communication and how to get over? Question. So barriers to communication, usually you get an a essay type question, or sometime what happened, one particular point is given to you and you have to elaborate that point from your understanding. So next I'm going for description of barriers to communication. And when a question is asked, what is barriers to communication? First, you have to define what is communication. Then it will come to barriers to communication. Straight away, you are not supposed to answer barriers to communication. First, you have to define what is communication. Then it will come barriers to communication. First barrier is called physical. First barrier is called physical barrier. Physical barrier is that barrier which you can remove. And sometimes physical barrier are not in our hand. For example, I'm delivering a lecture, but suddenly the dog downstairs started barking. This is a physical barrier. Because of dogs barking, I'm not able to concentrate in my lecture, and it goes somewhere else. So this is the physical barrier. You are listening to my lecture, suddenly your phone rings. So your attention will go to the phone, ringing of phone. This is called physical barrier. Physical barrier in many cases you can remove, but there are things which are medical thing, like physiological. There is another thing, phy, physiological. There is another thing called physiological barrier. Physiological barrier is the physical inability. For example, physical deformity, like people who are color blind, they cannot see all the color. This is a physiological barrier. Physiological barrier, we cannot do much about it. Like all of us are not equipped to see ultraviolet ray, because our sensory organ is not designed in that way so that we can see the ultraviolet ray in our naked eyes. So we need special type of glass to identify the ultraviolet ray. This is our physiological barrier. Next thing is that a person who is color blind, they cannot see all the color. So this is also physiological barrier. Next thing is differences in perception. Differences in perception. Differences in perception, like the lecture that I am delivering to these 68 people as of now, is reaching to different person in different mode. Now, why am I saying like this? It's just like of three blind people describing elephant in three different ways. Like one person who touched the trunk of the elephant is a tusk of the elephant, saying that elephant is thin. The person who touched the leg will say it's like thumb. Another person who touched the tail, they will say he will say it's very thin. So all these people, it's not that all these people are wrong, but taking into account all these description, you get an image of elephant. So the perception varies from person to person. Perception is based on that thing, that practice, habit, and belief that we have already discussed. So signs and words are not at all neutral. Like as I have said, like thumbs up itself is neutral. It doesn't have any meaning, but we assign meaning based on our context. So differences in perception. Next is psychological. Next is uh, psychological barrier. Any question, anybody?
So what is the difference between physical and the physiological? वो sir, क्या बोलते हैं उसमें
Physiological
difference?
is all about body. Like a person who is colorblind. A person who is colorblind cannot see all the colors. Or look at all of us, where we are not able to see ultraviolet ray. That's a physiological barrier. Okay, Shivanshi?
Yes, sir.
Sujal, any question?
No, sir.
Any other question? Okay. So next barrier is called psychological. Psychological barrier is like uh, when you are taking interview. For example, Surat is taking interview. Who is this fellow? Where matched? Who is this? 2:30. Okay. So, for example, psychological barrier is when you precondition your mind, with your understanding, that time you cannot think beyond that. For example, Subrat is taking interview of Sujal. Surat is the owner of a company, and Sujal is the candidate, and Subhranshu is the friend of Surat. So Subhanshu said to Surat that Sujal Jain is not a good fellow. So what Surat will understand that Sujal Jain, if he takes him or if he recruits him in his company, he will completely destroy his company's work culture. So this kind of thing, gossiping thing, Surat has made up in his mind that whatever be the candidature or however good this fellow gives his interview, he will not be selected. So psychological barrier, you have pre-decided your mind with something that you are not able to see the good thing in other person. It is just like you are wearing a YOLO spectacle. If you are wearing a YOLO spectacle and you are looking at the world, what will be the color? Srishti, Srishti Singh,
Yes, sir.
what will be the color?
Sir, can you repeat the question?
You are not listening, madam.
Sir, I was listening, but
You are
I
not
can't able.
listening, madam. Please don't excuse.
No, sir, it's not like that.
Very good. It's an online class. You can, just turn on that yeah and go ahead anywhere. Okay. So no point in saying like that. Anyway, if you guys are paying attention, fine. It's your benefit. If you are not paying attention, it's your loss only. Okay. So psychological barrier I was talking about. Yes, Vibhuti.
It's like perception and psychological are somewhat same thing, isn't it?
Almost same thing. Almost same thing.
All right.
So, psychological barrier, you have pre-decided your mind. You have pre-decided your mind about a particular person or thing. Usual mind setup before the interview should be open. Like you are going to face interview in a company called Shell. Like Shell is a very well-known petroleum based company. So this Shell company for example, is giving you 70K per month. In initial stage, 70K per month is a very good thing. But say, for example, Utkarsh said that no, Shell is giving too low. Don't go for Shell. So when this guy, Shujal Jain, is going to face this interview in Shell, this Surat has already vitiated his mind that 70K is too low. So when this fellow is going to face the interview, he is already having down spirit. So with this down spirit, he cannot perform well because your mind is already been vitiated that 70K is too small to begin with. So this is the psychological barrier. Any question till now? Yes, Shivanshu.
Sir, if an interviewer is pre-minded that he thought that in front of him is not good, then he will be influenced that he agrees? How will he be agrees that he good? How we can speak to him that he will agree?
That is a very difficult question, man. Even I am also a victim of that. Like when the fellow is taking your interview, has a pre-decided mind that he will go for that fellow, not for this fellow. We are simply helpless in front of them. I also faced in many interview. This is you cannot help it. Okay, Shivanshu,
Yes.
because you will not get to know that this was the reason you were rejected. Clear, Shivanshu?
Yes, sir, clear.
Yes, Tarun?
So, if suppose someone good, a good candidate started out with the interview, and the interviewers thought that this is a good person, it is its vibe is matching with our company, and we're gonna recruit it. So, the people which is will come next for the interview will have like a disadvantage.
Not really, not really. I'll come to answer your question little later. Shriyanshu, please.
It's really happened that interviewer take a pre-inquired about the interview or contestant.
It is not really, it's an ideal condition, I told. This usually doesn't happen. Usually doesn't happen because the company who is coming to take your interview is least bothered to know about your candidature.
Okay, sir.
Okay, Tarun Gupta, I'll tell you the strategy that we follow. Like when we start checking answer sheet also, based on answer, we start giving. Like I'm checking the copy of say Utkarsh Patel and he has written wonderful. So I'm not going to give him 100 out of 100. So if it's in wonderful, I will still remain, I'll still keep a room open for further. See, there is nothing called excellent. Everything is better. There is, see, for example, there is an excellent ka bhi, there is a well-known proverb, je baap ka bhi baap hota hai. So the thing is that when you are giving an interview, where is the guarantee the last person is the best person than the first or second person? So what do? We give from average, we start from average. For example, if the person has written wonderful, we'll start from 70. Out of 100, we start from 70, we'll start from 80. Still, I have 20 in my hand. If the person performed wonderful, then we'll give that number to him. Is that clear, Tarun?
Yes, sir.
So in any interview, we follow the same protocol. Any interview, whether it's a faculty interview or whether it's a PhD interview, we follow the same structure. We start with maybe 70 or 60 based on the answers. Then we start adding. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Any other question? Next one is called cultural. See, Vibhuti, yes, madam.
So, what is the best way to change somebody else's perception
Very difficult,
about
madam.
ourselves?
Very difficult because I am a victim of that. Very difficult. You cannot really change someone else's perception. Like, for example, Srishti is having some perception about say XYZ. How can you know? How Vibhuti will get to know that Srishti is having this perception in her mind? Is it possible for Vibhuti to know what Srishti is thinking?
No, it is not possible, but obviously, from the conversations, we can understand the perception.
You cannot really change. That is a problem. Like in
All
interview,
right.
like interview in faculty position, particularly in IT and IT, we do not have a written test. We have only one short interview. That's all. The interview may last 15 minutes, 30 minutes, after half an hour, 45 minutes, but that's it. How will you convince the person who is not ready to recruit you to convince that I am the best person you can ever have in this bunch of people? You cannot. If the person has decided not to select you, he will have every reason not to select you. Got my point, Vibhuti?
Yes, sir.
But
Sir, but we can to
definitely,
sir, but we can
definitely we can give a try. Definitely. Yes, Shivam.
sir, but can we try to softly influence the interviewer's mind
It is very difficult,
on
man.
our part?
Sir, what will I say? Just as you know, in Gita it is written, "माँ और मैं माँ बोलो मैं भूल गया हूँ माँ फलेषु कदाचन." That means your job is to do the work. Don't wait for the fruits. So
Yes, sir.
my job is to give the best. But if I'm not selected, that is not in my hand. Na? Several cases I faced, several interviews. I could not crack fine. That was not in my hand. I have given my best. Clear, Shivam?
Yes, sir.
Any other question?
Sir,
Shivanshu.
sir, if the interviewer likes your speaking style and body language, then is it possible that its perception will goes wrong?
See, if you have a pre-decided mind that this fellow is good, that fellow is bad, you cannot change, but definitely you can give a try. That's what I am saying. You can try, definitely. How will you get to know what is there in my mind? Got my point, Shivanshu? Our
Yes, sir.
job is to do the best in us.
Sir, but in politics, it has been seen that whenever a group of people are favoring like Pappu Rahul Gandhi, but when they attended the rally of Narendra Modi, they get influenced by him and they turn their vote to the Narendra Modi. Sir,
No,
how
that
they
is a
do?
different thing. That is a different thing. Because it's a collective consciousness is always illogical. Let me tell you one thing. रास्ते में एक चोर पकड़े गए हैं, and everyone is beating that fellow. Will you think or will you ask that fellow that आपने देखे हैं क्या ये चोरी करते हुए? आप पूछोगे या जाके दो थप्पड़ लगाओगे? क्या करोगे पहले?
पूछेंगे सर पहले।
वो-
पूछ के
सर
देखना
फ्लो
भैया।
फ्लो में तो दो थप्पड़ ही लगाएंगे।
पूछेंगे सर, फिर अगर उसका जवाब हाँ होगा तभी
नहीं
शुरू
नहीं
करेंगे।
नहीं नहीं, public sentiment is always, public psychology is
Yes,
always
sir.
different, always
Yes,
different
वैसी
sir.
गंगा में
from
सब
the
हाथ
nature.
धोएंगे।
Because ये पब्लिक एडम का एक सब्जेक्ट पढ़ाया जाता है, पब्लिक साइकोलॉजी. Like when this district magistrate is coming and district magistrate is holding the power over the district, but when he was out by a group of people, he has to listen to the people, group of people. He cannot say that fire on these people. You cannot. Got my point? Public psychology is absolutely different. Sajal Dadsana, Karmenne Badhikaraste. Thank you. I forgot that one. Karmenne Badhikaraste Mahapaleshu Kodachana. Thank you. Sajal, thank you. I forgot that one.
Yes.
Thank you. आपने गीता पढ़े हो क्या सजल?
सर पापा पढ़े हैं, वो बताते रहे।
अच्छा, बहुत अच्छा है. We are including that in our syllabus, not in BTech, but in master degree.
Thank
Indian
God,
classical. हाँ, सुजल?
I'm saying so. Thank God that it's not included in BTech. For a second, I thought it's included in BTech.
It is, in IIT Kanpur, that guest lecture, the people delivers about Gita, Bhagavad Gita. IIT Kanpur, they organize that one.
Sir, it should be involved in our
There
session
It
is
is.
also.
Yes, sir. It
Go
should
into
be an
the
education
deeper
system.
Sir,
knowledge.
is it available in our library?
It should be.
Gita is there. I mean,
Yes,
let
sir.
me tell you one thing.
which
The present Vice
translation is
Chancellor of Swami Vivekananda Open University is my principal, was my principal. He did his PhD in theoretical physics. So he's a monk, Swami Atma Priyananda. He's a monk. So according to him, the top level of science, top level of engineering and arts, there is no difference between physics, chemistry, and arts. Top level, but mediocre level for us, yes, there exists a difference. But if you move at the top level, like people who are the mathematician, world famous mathematician, are the best philosopher, like Barton Russell is a mathematician, but he's a philosopher as well. Got my point? For smaller people like us, we differentiate between physics, chemistry, math, electrical, and metallurgy. But if you go at the apex of knowledge, there is nothing. Sriyanshu, sometime else we will discuss about this interview, experience of interview. Anything else?
sir, will you train us in the third year, like before placement?
Hopefully not, because that provision is not there.
Okay, sir.
Sir, is Gita available in our college library?
Yes, it is available. You
Sir,
can
it is easily available on YouTube.
you can follow some YouTube lectures also.
So there are some wrong translations of Gita.
That one you need to check. That one, like I was just about to tell you. See, who has written Ramayana?
Valmiki.
Valmiki. But
Valmiki, sir.
surprisingly, you will see India में कितना language? India में how many languages are there? approximately?
I think 28.
Yes, sir.
28 or 24?
Different regions have different their
22
own.
are affiliated.
22
24 are
scheduled.
affiliated.
Sir, like in Himachal or somewhere, what is Sita is actually a daughter of Raman. Like so, they have different.
So
versions.
that's what I mean to say, that when you are narrating a story, each story is having three versions. Like when I'm narrating a story to Viral Tiwari will narrate the story to Tarun Gupta. So in every layer of the story, you add your version. Like I was talking that someone was seen in CCD, then someone will add his version that he was not alone, he was there with someone close to him. So like this, every version you get a different. Like in Valmiki's Ramayana, it's the original one. From there, if you look at interpretation like Ramcharit's Manas, that's also Ramayana. Valmiki is also Ramayana, but their interpretation varies. In 24 language India officially has. In 24 languages, you will find 24 versions of Ramayana. These are actual story is the same, but interpretations are different. For example, Devdutt Patnaik. Are you familiar?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So Warrior of
Yes, sir.
Mithila.
sir.
So
Read
when
notes.
he is writing Warrior of Mithila, he cannot change the course of the story, but definitely he can change the way the characters are behaving. So that's what in Grapevine communication also every version or every version gets added up. So sometimes you will see a banyan tree which is more than 100 years old. Sometimes you will see that the original trunk of this banyan tree is lost somewhere long back. It is surviving with its branches. The same thing with culture, the same thing with any epic. The actual version is somewhere, but we are living with something else. So that's how it is. Any other question? Any other question? No question. Tenjin,
Yes, sir.
लेट क्यों आ रहे हो बेटा?
Yes, sir.
लेट क्यों आए आज?
सर
भूल गए थे?
नहीं सर, लंच खाने के बाद थोड़ा रेस्ट किया था.
अरे बाप रे, क्या खाया लंच में आज?
अंडा करी खाया था सर.
अंडा करी? कितने अंडा? सिंगल डबल?
दो खाए सर.
डबल अंडा खा लिया? अच्छा ठीक है, बहुत बढ़िया. क्लास में क्वेश्चन पूछते थे पहले, आजकल नहीं पूछ रहे हो, क्या बात है?
नहीं सर, अभी वो नोट्स बना रहे हैं ना सर.
अच्छा,
समझ
शतांशु,
में आ
रोल
रहा
नंबर
है.
94.
यस सर.
ये आपका नया शूज है क्या?
नो सर.
अरे तो हमको क्यों दिखा रहे हो भाई? आई थॉट आपका नया जूता खरीदे हो इसलिए सबको दिखा रहे हो भाई, नया जूता खरीदे हम लोग.
आई विल चेंज इट सर.
नहीं, you can keep it. I was just curious to know. Okay, any other question? I don't want to move to a new topic, like new points. It will take some time.
Sir, please
Better
explore
late
your
to
interview.
watch.
Sir, I am hearing what you say, what you talk.
सिमरन आज लेट क्यों हो गए हो?
सर मैं लेट नहीं हूँ, क्लास अटेंड कर रहा था.
अच्छा.
बट कुछ नहीं.
अच्छा,
Sir,
बोलो.
I am asking to you,
Hmm.
please share your experience related to interview so
Lot
that
of
I can
interviews.
clear.
We can discuss that later. I have faced approximately 5 to 10 interviews.
Sir,
Discuss
one
करेंगे.
Sir,
I'll discuss some other day.
Okay, sir.
will there be anyone to train us in third year, sir, for placements or?
I think for placement session they hire professional. I think I'm not very sure, but I think they will hire some professional to train you.
Sir, one question. In interview period, English speaking is necessary.
Absolutely. अगर अच्छा पैकेज चाहते हो तो अच्छा
Obviously,
पैकेज
कि
नहीं
अच्छा
हो तो हिंदी
पैकेज
से भी चल जाएगा.
अच्छा पैकेज तो चाहते ही हैं सर.
तो बेटा इंग्लिश में बोलना शुरू करो.
Yes, sir. I will try my best so that I can.
हिंदी में बोलोगे नौकरी मिलेगा लेकिन पैकेज ज्यादा नहीं मिलेगा.
So English speaking तो करना ही.
करना तो है ही सर. बिकॉज मल्टीनेशनल कंपनी गूगल में जाके क्या हिंदी में बात करोगे बताओ?
नहीं सर.
Okay,
The
Shashank.
person taking the Sir, if the person taking the interview is Indian is talking to us in Hindi, then should we reply in
शशांक
English?
शशांक फिर से रिपीट करो बेटा.
Sir, if the person who is taking our interview is Indian and talking to us in Hindi only, so should we
It is
reply
better.
him in
It is
English?
better not to communicate in Hindi because in interview board it will not be one-to-one interview. Usually,
Sir,
a bunch of people panel takes your interview, not one person.
if the person who asked us the question asked in Hindi, then
I will suggest it is better always to go for a neutral language English. But if you want, you can go for Hindi, but that is not really a good thing.
okay, sir.
And
नेक्स्ट क्लास में सर अभी आपके एक्सपीरियंसेस के स्टोरीज के साथ शुरू करेंगे सर क्लास को.
कब
नेक्स्ट क्लास.
बेटा स्टोरी सुनते सुनते पूरा दिन रात हो जाएगा. इतना स्टोरी सुनेंगे अब. पहले सिलेबस तो खत्म करने दो भाई.
हाँ सर जल्दी जल्दी सिलेबस खत्म कर लेते हैं.
सिलेबस खत्म करते हैं उसके बाद टाइम रहेगा. ठीक है. अदरवाइज टाइम विल रन अप. और ऐसे ही तुम लोग मुझे बहुत डांटे हो एमसीक्यू 1 में खराब परफॉर्मेंस के बाद. Don't worry, MCQ 1 and MCQ 2 are there only to differentiate between good and the best. I have no intention to fail a single soul. कोई फेल नहीं करेगा. That's my assurance. अगर ABCD लिख पाते हो तो फेल नहीं करोगे. That's my assurance.
Fail is not the matter, sir.
Scoring
नहीं,
good.
actually I'll tell you one thing, to be very frank with you. Even master degree में भी जब पढ़ाता हूँ MCA में मेरा highest ज्यादा नहीं जाता है. Like other people, I don't want to comment, but मेरे केस में highest usually out of 100 usually 82-3 में ही रुक जाता है. नहीं जाता है ऊपर. Maximum 82-3. But BTech में definitely it goes up.
Sir, you have not provided us the materials, sir.
For
Sir, new chapter like you were provided us materials for unit 1 only, I think.
Unit 2 I have not given. Presi I think I have given. Presi material I have given. Unit 3 I will give you. This barriers to communication. These things I'll give you.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Let me complete this unit. I'll send you.
Okay.
Anything else?
So can you suggest us a good website for practicing English, like communication skills?
Only one thing, boy. Read newspaper and start practicing. Read
So,
newspaper.
reading newspaper is very
Reading
time
newspaper, and whenever you get an opportunity, try to speak in English. That
Sir,
is-
sir, when I reading a newspaper, then which type of content I read so that I can improve our.
that's your choice, man. Only thing, it has to be in English. It's completely your choice. Which one? You are interested. Anything. If you read anything in English, gradually it will help you to understand.
Sir, the whole newspaper will be written is.
No. Don't go for only one section. For example, आपको movie अच्छा लगता है, go for movie section. Read the movie section. आपको sports अच्छा लगता है, go for only sports section.
And then speak related to that.
Time कहाँ है आपके पास?
Sir, when I read, then speak related to that movie part.
That's fine. Shiva Mandavi. What is this? Shiva. Okay. Any other question? Okay. See you on Thursday. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
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 Thank you, sir.